Hey there, welcome to PhD Weekly, episode 6. This is a series where I reflect on my past week in grad school, sharing a lesson or idea that I want to share with you, or just something that I'm learning in the moment. And so for this episode, I'm going to be sharing 3 pieces of advice for grad school that was shared with me during a lecture, really great lecture, by the way, but 3 pieces of advice if this lecturer were to start grad school all over again. I really connected with these pieces of advice and I want to just share it with you. But first, feelings update. Overall, I'd say I'm feeling good. Not average, not great, almost there, but I'm saying like good or exceptional. I don't know. Somewhere between good and great. Not great, but I'm feeling really good. How about that? I'm feeling really good. Why? Overall, I think I made good progress on my research. The feedback I got from my exams, for the most part, good grades. Still waiting for one, but the other, like 2 or 3, really great. Really happy with that. Just making good progress and things are going well. That's how I've been feeling this past week. Now, on to the 3 pieces of advice for grad school. So this was a lecture I had for the molecular and genetics class that I'm taking. It's like a very general class that they give to all the beginning grad students to kind of get everybody up to the same speed in terms of biological concepts. So like I haven't really taken too much biology, so I'm glad I'm taking this class. It gets everybody at the same playing field in terms of understanding the biology. Anyways, so our lecturer gave 3 pieces of advice if he were to restart grad school today. So I want to go ahead and share that with you. And these ideas are really ideas that I'm using to also figure out and decide where I want to go next for my rotation. So I'm trying to decide my second mentor for my second rotation. And so that's just where I'm at right now. So I've really been thinking about these 3 pieces of advice. So here we go. 1, find a good mentor that fits you. I think compatibility is like critical when it comes to finding the right mentor, because you could be doing the coolest research possible in the best place ever, but if you're not like happy in terms of every week you go and get results and share with your mentor, and like you're not able to have that like synchronicity, right? That compatibility with your mentor. It just kind of, it's like, it's just not. I think it's, I personally, again, this is just opinions, right? But I personally think it's not as fun and fulfilling to be working with research or on research with people that you don't find as exciting as the research, right? So definitely finding a compatible mentor. And this is going to really depend on what stage of their career they're at and what you're looking for. So for me, because I feel like I'm more like kind of in the beginning of like just learning bioinformatics, like learning more computational biology, computational thinking in the science applied world, I personally like more of that hands-on approach, at least at this point in my career. And so I'm looking for like a more earlier uh, like early career scientist or researcher where they've just recently opened their lab. They probably have a few grad students, or usually generally have a smaller lab, which means they have a little more time to dedicate to meet with you a little more frequently and kind of be a little more hands-on with their approach. And I definitely found that to be the case, and I really enjoy it. I've also worked in labs where it's a PI that's had decades of experience and is a bigger lab, right? And so when it's a bigger lab like that, you're not going to get as much of that hands-on experience you might be looking for if you were to go with like a much smaller, newer lab. And so that's definitely something to think about. So pros and cons. If you join a lab or a PI who's had a lab for a few decades, well, a benefit is you're going to probably have more connections and thus more opportunities. Generally, this is very general, of course, but also you're also going to have generally more resources because they'll probably have better funding situations because they've had decades to write grants and develop experience, right? Experience matters. But then there's drawbacks to that. Then on the other side, with a smaller lab, again, generally speaking, you're going to have a little more like hand holding. Like have, you're gonna have more accessibility with the mentor. They're usually gonna be more hands on in their approach to teaching you how to do X, Y, or Z. They're gonna show you how to do it, generally speaking. Whereas compared to like a bigger lab, it's usually just going to be like a postdoc or someone else will show you in the lab because the mentor just doesn't have time. Because of course, why would they? They're busy writing grants and trying to network and build collaborations for this big project that they're working on. So that's the general scope, right? Of course, I've seen PIs with decades of experience who actually they go out of their way to just keep a smaller amount of grad students, 3 to 4 grad students at most, because their teaching style, like they have that self-awareness to know that their teaching style is more hands-on and they like that more one-on-one mentorship style, not so much like weekly, right? Not so much, oh, okay, we're gonna meet one-on-one, but every few weeks. So every PI is different and you're also gonna be different as well. So you just gotta figure out what works best for you. Also, when it comes to finding a good mentor, personality definitely matters. Just make sure you have good compatibility with your mentor because, again, you want to do really cool, fun research with really cool, fun people. And that's going to be different for every single person. So, whatever cool, fun people look like for you, go for that. Of course, like I'm not saying they have to be the most funnest, if that's a word, like coolest researchers out there. But I definitely think you should like it's probably not a good sign if you don't have any sort of compatibility with the mentor whatsoever. Like it's not like they have to be great, but I think they should at least like kind of meet the middle bar or above. If you kind of feel like then it's just probably not the best compatibility for you in terms of just finding a good mentor. Because remember, when you marry the lab, you're really marrying the mentor. You're going to be there 4 to 6 years, maybe longer. They're the person you're going to see on a weekly basis or however frequently you see them. The lab dynamics can change, right? The other members in the lab can come and go, but you and the PI, like that's the most important relationship when it comes to choosing the lab. Second piece of advice, get a project that actually matters to you. I really related to this because you want to work with really cool people, but I think you want to also work on a project that you find fun. You'll go a lot farther, a lot faster, right? A lot quicker because you find it fun. When you can go about living life in a form of play, like everything is play to you, then it doesn't feel like work. It's just like, cool, I get to do this, I get to go and spend 12 hours trying to figure out how to install this package that ended up being this other thing and now, oh, now I figured it out, but I didn't even need that previous package in the first place. Like you enjoy it because the project overall matters to you. And so when it comes to figuring out what project actually matters for you, again, you're different from me. Every single person is going to find this differently, but I think novelty is really important in terms of what is new for you because usually the best way to learn is through novelty, is through being interested in your project. And then also think about applicability in terms of do you find the project you're working on like fulfilling, meaningful, or rewarding for you, whatever that looks like for you. There's no right or wrong answer either. It's just whatever that looks like for you, you have to be as honest as possible. Go take some few pieces of paper, just write it out. Like, what do you find meaningful when it comes to research? What do you find to be the most important when it comes to a good mentor? I think compatibility is probably like the big thing, but maybe for you, as long as you can work with a mentor who's pushing your intellectual limits and who's you're working with a mentor that's really smart, great. Like if that's what you want, go for that. Anyways, so get a project that matters to you. Feel like a kid in a candy shop and just explore this vast world, like this vast intellectual world of whatever topic you're interested in. For me, I'm really into microbes, microbiology, and obviously computational biology. So computational microbiology is really like the big area I'm focused on. But now I'm getting even more specific. I'm flirting with labs when it comes to learning more about metagenomics, some algorithm development, and I'm learning different tools so I can figure out what I like and don't like or want to kind of combine together. And I think that's the beauty of research as well. So, but I think part of the interesting thing about that is because a lot of that is still new to me. So once I get some more exposure, I can figure out, okay, I like this or I don't like this. Next piece of advice, master a methodology. I think this is probably the best piece of advice possible when it comes to specifically for PhD because, yeah, if you find a terrible mentor and you find a terrible project, Well, it's only 4 or 5 years of your life, or maybe a little longer, but it's only a few years of your life. It's not, this is what you're working on the rest of your life. But if you develop a methodology that you really enjoy doing the day to day, right, you can market this skill set for your next step. And so when you master methodology, it's really great to show, hey, I'm specialized in a particular technique, and thus you can brand and market yourself to your postdoc position or to whatever industry job you're going for, whatever position you're applying for. You can really talk a lot about that main specialized technique that you've had years working on and refining and sucking at and then getting better at and then doing terrible at and then doing even better at. Like, you've had years to really refine your craft. And so I think this marketability opens up opportunities for you, and then that'll either lead to more excitement for sure, which that will lead to more fun and play, but also either more pay or more publications or whatever it is you're aiming to do more of. When you can have fun with it, it feels, well, it feels fun. It feels like play. It doesn't feel like work. I think these are really great pieces of advice for starting grad school and just really good pieces of advice to reflect on. So find a good mentor that fits you, get a project that matters to you, and then master a methodology that you can then use to market yourself in the job market, whatever that looks like for you. Now, a highlight for this past week, I really just enjoyed getting to get to know my friends more, um, getting to spend time with them out of the lab, outside of classes and whatnot. I think is really fun. Just getting to enjoy just being around other people. I think that's definitely one thing I really enjoy about research, the collaborative aspect. Like, a lot of people think, yeah, you sit at your computer and you just program. And yeah, that's a part of it, but it's not the entire story. Personally, I I get that you have to sit at your computer and do the work because you just got to do the work. But I look forward to the times where you can go ahead and either sit in on a meeting or collaborate with your friends or colleagues or whatnot and talk about ideas together. Talk about, okay, I'm really stuck at this problem. What are your thoughts? Or how would you approach the problem? Oh, they would go from this direction and try this and try that. I really enjoy that. Again, I think that's why I really enjoy like group studying and such, right? So I would say that was definitely a highlight. And then a stressor for the week. Again, it was a good week, so nothing too crazy, but I think really the biggest stressor was just having to wait to hear back about how I did on my exams and projects and whatnot. So finally heard back from most of them. So feeling really good with that as well. So nothing too crazy. It was just having to wait to hear back on how I actually did. That was really the biggest stressor for this week. So again, really good week. Made great progress on my rotation project, making really great connections in terms of ideas and learning, as well as connections with people. And so just overall really enjoying the process. So yeah, so that's really the three pieces of advice that he shared for grad school that I wanted to share with you guys, and that I'm really just reflecting on to just decide where I want to go rotate in next, what mentor I want to work with next. Find a good mentor that fits you, get a project that matters to you, and master methodology so you can go ahead and market yourself. I hope you enjoyed this week of PhD Weekly, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Take care.